T-Mobile says it's 5:59.
No.
It's 6 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Rob, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Whitaker.
Here.
Mr. Avery.
Here.
Mr. Hannah.
Present.
Ms. Least.
Here.
Mrs. Sweet.
Here.
Mr. Bear.
Here.
All members of council are present. Please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions to the agenda this evening?
A quick little mention about the meeting tomorrow with the township and the village about the park.
Okay, I'll put that under communications then. Mr. Hannah. Anything else? Let's go to the minutes of Tuesday, November 26, 2024. If those look correct and acceptable to council, I would ask for a motion and a second to approve.
One correction on the public comments. The clerical Madden is it's Madden. Harry Madden.
Anything else?
I'll move that we accept them with the noted change.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Least.
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Those are approved as presented. And Rob, I'll turn it over to you for the financial report for this evening.
Yes, sir. Financials for the month of November were distributed to council over the weekend. Fund balances as of November 30 were general fund $249,626.85, street fund $47,079.24, ARPA funds remaining $43,975.53, police levy fund $228,551.64. Police Special Fund, $10,322.11. Water Operating, $319,979.44. Water Contingency, $109,822.34. Grand total of all funds available, $948,115.27. Nothing of note to draw to your attention for November's financials, but I am happy to answer any questions that anyone might have about the reports in the bank
You
reconciliation.
need to move any money, Rob, for the end of the year?
I was going to do that after we approve the statements.
Gotcha.
We can do it now if you'd rather.
Nope.
I'll move that we accept the bank reconciliation for November.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Okay. In order to make payroll, I need to request a handful of appropriation transfers. So nothing that's gonna, nothing that we have to go to the county to redo our appropriations for the year. So these are all internal. So my requests are as follows: that we reduce the following lines in the general fund. 1,310,190, which is personal services for the park, reduced by $1,400. Reduce the park PERS line by $750, and reduce the park Medicare line by $300. And we would supplement the following personal service lines. In the general fund, the front office by $1,050, the council salaries by $350, and the mayor's court salaries by $1,050. In the water fund, I would recommend that we reduce the following appropriations. The contractual service line 5101, 531, 300, reduced by $1,500. Reduce the water supplies and materials line by $2,000. Reduce the water capital improvement line by $8,000, and reduce the water interest payment line by $3,000 for a total of $14,500, all to be put in the personal services salary line for the water department.
And that, let's just make note of that. That is where we did the additional full-time hire with the benefits, and that was not included in our original appropriations for 2024 because we didn't know that was going to happen. But saying all that, it's good that that department stayed really within its budget, looking at that additional full-time person.
So we are gonna scrape by without having to ask for any extra money in the water fund, which is great, having had those additional expenses. And we did have a big vacation payout in the salary line too that we hadn't budgeted for.
So we'll need a motion and a second to approve those changes.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
In the mail today, I received the certificate from the county auditor's office letting us know what the proposed levy would bring in a year. And it is $115,000. Unfortunately, I didn't get that letter in the mail in time to have the next ordinance available for you to look at. But we have plenty of time before May to do that the first of the year.
So if we could do that at our first regular meeting, Rob, that would be great. I would appreciate it. That way we've got all the paperwork done, and if there's any irregularities, we'll have plenty of time to take care of those.
Sounds good. I'm happy to.
Appreciate that.
The state legislature hasn't officially set the date of the May primary yet. So we've passed it based on what is always done, but something could change, so we had to change the date. So
That 115,000, that's what we anticipated it being. And that's what the amount is that the
Was it
prior.
close?
it's 115 even.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
That's what the prior levy brought in.
That's what we were bringing in at
Right.
the end of the year. Well, 114,
Right.
Good
but
deal.
it would be a wash. And unless anyone has any questions for me, that ends my report today.
Questions for our fiscal officer? Rob, we earmarked that 43,000 ARPA money for use in the park. I know that's got different plans now. Do we have any problem with carrying that over under a different category at this point? Or as long as we still got it earmarked under the
We are-
park itself?
The plan is to encumber the entirety of that 43,000 to use upfront as the village's payment for the playground equipment grant that we received.
Okay.
We have to pay all that up front, which comes to 50,000. Yeah, right at 50,000 that we have to pay up front. So we're going to encumber that, and we have some funds left in the general fund park appropriation line
Okay.
to cover the rest. And then when the reimbursement from that comes back, we think maybe springtime, probably, that'll be received in the general fund. It could be appropriated to cover up.
Makes sense, yeah, I appreciate that. I just didn't want us to get in limbo with that.
No, but by encumbering that now, because we have to have it encumbered by December 31st. So we're encumbering that now, and we can close out the reporting on those ARPA funds, and then we get it to the feds, and then, not next year, but the following year, we'll be able to pass a resolution to close that fund.
Thanks.
And the good part about it is the monies that we receive in the reimbursement can go for anything, including the police department, make up the difference that we won't have from the levy.
Right, and so we need to have a paper trail that shows that we are going to spend that on an expense that would have been authorized under the ARPA funds to begin with, and police salaries would fit the bill. That ARPA money was pretty broad.
Thanks, Rob. Any other questions? All right, let's go into communications. And the next meeting for the Enon Village Council is scheduled for December 24th. And I assume we want to cancel that meeting, as we typically do, cancel the second meeting in December. So Rick wants to be here.
He can be here by himself.
You'll be here by yourself. So I entertain a motion and a second to cancel that second meeting in December.
So
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least.
Yes.
And if we could make sure that we get notice put out on that, I'd greatly appreciate it. Now, the next part, staying with our previous practices, we would take that first Tuesday of the month and make that our organizational meeting and possibly turn that into a regular session as well after the organizational. Rob and I have talked before tonight's meeting, and we have a little hiccup that involves the way the pay period comes out this year, and that January 7th meeting is not going to make it possible for you to do that first payroll in 2025. So I'll turn it over to you, Rob, for
So the first pay date of 25 is January 3rd, and that has to be paid with 2025 appropriations. If we pay it in 2025, we have to use 25 appropriations for it. We don't have enough appropriations in 24 remaining to be able to do a payroll on New Year's Eve to cover the pay period. So we have to have something in place by Friday the 3rd. If we don't have anything in place by Tuesday the 31st, I won't be able to do the direct deposit payroll in time because Monday the banks will be closed and it has to be 48 hours in advance. So if the organizational meeting is on the 1st or the 2nd, payroll would have to be done by paper checks. If we want to keep a direct deposit payroll for that Friday, we need to have met before or on the 31st. I will have all my numbers done Christmas week and then can go over with the finance committee whenever they're available. So it's really up to council when they want to have that first meeting.
but it needs to be before the 3rd. And if you can get it before the 31st, you can still do the direct deposit.
If I could, yes. So if we can meet,
So you'd really like the 30th or the
Yeah,
31st?
30th.
Or sometime that week.
if it's the 30th and the 31st, the employees can still get their direct deposit on Friday. And I don't know who has automatic withdrawals from their accounts that are expecting that payroll to hit by midnight. You know.
Let's not get into that
Yeah,
part.
but we
Let's,
should really try to do it.
I agree.
I mean,
I
I
agree.
can do it pretty much any time. The 31st is probably gonna be a little tricky for people because that's,
Want to try the 30th being a regular Tuesday?
30th is
Would be
Monday.
Monday.
30th is
Monday.
I mean,
You're
I'd
looking-
rather it be the 30th.
It's 25.
Same here.
30th.
Rather be
30th
That's the new,
That's
he's
the
got
new
the next
calendar.
year up already. He's one step ahead of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, the 30th is a Monday, 31st is a Tuesday, but 31st is New Year's Eve, if that matters.
You want to do it the 30th?
The
I'd
30th is
rather
okay.
Monday the 30th.
I'd rather
Same.
Monday the 30th.
Same time,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
That'll be our organizational meeting for 2025. And then we'll just go and have the regular first meeting in January, which would be on
The
the
14th.
14th. Okay, great. Kevin, can you make sure we get notice posted on that? Thank you.
Can we have a motion to set that meeting date?
Let's do that.
I'll make a motion to have the organizational meeting on 12/30/24,
What time?
6
6
p.m.
o'clock.
Second.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Least.
Yes,
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Hannah, I'll turn it over to you for communications.
Last week, seeing some progress that our street department's been making back there along the railroad tracks. We have a situation in front of us that ideally, maybe at some point, it'll open that walking trail. So upon talking to Mr. Pettit, then there's some, we need to get our heads together about what we're going to be doing for 2025 as far as what direction we're going to be going at the park, or else if we're going to sub it out. And if so, how many acres are we going to be subbing out? So it came to the point where we haven't had a meeting. We need to have a meeting. So we'll be having a meeting tomorrow afternoon joint with the township at 2:30 here at the village offices. We've placed the notice out, haven't we? So all the public notice has been made. Everybody is welcome to come if they wish to. But the more voices we have on this, probably the better. But a question did come up on social media about what's been going on at the park, and it just so happened our guys have timely been down there working on the area, so we're able to shoot some pictures and put that on there where it's still in being active. So we'll keep going forward.
What time was that meeting tomorrow?
Tomorrow at 2:30.
2:30. Here?
Yes.
Any other items of communication? Thanks, Rick. Okay, seeing none, let's go into staff reports. Kevin, you are up first. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council, residents. First item on my agenda is medical insurance. You know, it's that time of year again, everybody's favorite subject, insurance. So, we did reach out to a third-party person thinking we were going to change, and she did get us some quotes from Aetna again. And unfortunately, it went up, but it didn't go up as much as we thought it was going to be, or I thought it was going to be. It only went up 9%. What we're currently paying right now is $15,903, and what we'll be paying a month in 2025 would be $16,555. So that's just about a 9% increase. And with that, you know, we were talking. We had a meeting with the mayor, myself, and Christy and Jason, and we were talking about possibly having the employees bear some of that increase. So we are going to have the employees increase their pay, their portion, $15 per pay. And that'll kind of help with that. It's like little, $7,800 increase per year.
So the idea was if the employees, and they did show good faith in wanting to help offset that cost, it'd be about $3,300, just shy of half of the increase for the village. However, if it goes the way we think it will, there'll be possibly one employee that will be dropping down from an employee plus one to a single, and it'll eventually be a zero cost to the village in the end with the employee's contribution and with that dropping down.
Yeah.
And I will say this, we didn't have any other companies that wanted to give us a quote.
No, they did not.
And that's very unfortunate. So one of the conversations that we're going to have is what can we do better as a group to make ourselves more marketable, because we are high risk. I've been saying that for the last 3 to 5 years, but it's gotten to the point where nobody wants to give us a quote, and we need to change that.
We do have a meeting set with Waypoint. We are sticking with Waypoint rather than changing third-party companies. And we do have a meeting set with them on December the 19th. And that's one of the questions that's going to be asked to them, you know, and what can we do to kind of maybe help with this? Give us some pointers, you know. So hopefully as the year goes, it'll get better, you know, claim-wise and things like that. But hopefully, you know, we'll start out earlier next year and hopefully get some better quotes maybe next year. So.
But we would need a motion and a second to increase the employee contribution across the board of $15 per pay.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
One thing you might try out, know if it's been looked into or not, but any kind of health programs or like we
Like
do.
a wellness.
Like a wellness program or something. A lot of insurance companies will look at that and give you they'll be more apt to give you a better quote or give you a quote in our case. If they know that you're looking at the wellness of your employees and offering them health screenings or something like that.
Appreciate it. Any other comments before we call the roll? Go ahead, Rob.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
And I just want to thank all of our staff members. We have a lot of hours wrapped up in this one. This was kind of a tough one this year for everybody to sort through, so thanks for being patient.
Next is a mayor's court report for the month of November. There were 2 traffic cases. Total funds received for the current month, $2,933.75. Year-to-date, $39,064.65. Funds dispersed to the state, current month, $250. Year-to-date, $6,678. Total remitted to the village, current month, $2,674.75. Year-to-date, $32,128.65. Total dispersed, $29,33.75, and year-to-date, $39,064.65.
Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot. Citations for November, there were 23, and then we had 2 cases for mayor's court. And I know some of those citations can't be heard, but are we sending a lot through the municipal court then?
Yeah, the citations of the 21 remaining, yeah, they just had to go to municipal court.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
I'll move that we accept the mayor's court report as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
That report is approved as submitted.
Next on my items is the ordinance in front of you, ordinance 2407. This is in regards to the accepting of the annexation of the 60 plus or minus acres. This ordinance is required, and it's from Paul Cavanaugh, and he's going to, required to record this annexation and the certification as well on the back or on the separate page. His office is going to take care of all that once this ordinance passes. This is the only 2 items it's left to do then, so,
This is for the park.
yes.
And we'll need to suspend the 3 reading rule,
Let me read by title only.
title only.
An ordinance accepting the annexation of certain territory containing plus or minus 60.386 acres from Mad River Township to Village of Enon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
I'll move that we waive the 3 reading rule.
A second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Now we need a motion and a second to approve ordinance 24-07.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next all gets signed tonight. I'll get it back and I'll run it to him tomorrow, so. Blood drive is December the 18th. There is 14 spots open left. And that is gonna be from 12:30 to 6:20 p.m. on December the 18th. If anybody's interested, sign up at donortime.com. Just a couple more items there under miscellaneous communications. I did talk to 3 companies about reviewing our zoning code. One is ZoneCo, the other one, second is Compass Point, and the third one I had a Zoom call today. Actually, I met their company last Friday at the planning workshop in Dayton. So they're out of Columbus. They're called Crossroads Community Planning. She is going to get me a quote for services next week. So then I will have all this tallied up at the first meeting in January, so we can kind of take a look at that. So.
And I think we need to stay on top of that. Thanks for getting that together.
This company here, that was I'm glad I went to the workshop. That was a very very informative workshop. And this session especially, I mean, they do good work. Kind of seeing it firsthand what they do, so.
And
Well,
just
I
a-
will bring that all to you.
Just a side note, Mike and I have been looking at nuisance ordinances, and Ben, thank you for your information that you passed along. But Mike and I met today and reviewed an ordinance that the city of Fairborn has. I'm not sure that it's going to fit our needs here, but we're looking at that for a possible change as well. So that would go hand in hand.
There was some communication at the planning meeting on Friday that some places are going and using artificial intelligence for zoning issues and for other things as far as either ordinances or other legal matters that may help simplify a lot of the stuff that you don't have to go back and start from day one. There's actually artificial intelligence can help propagate some of the goals that you may have for that type of situations.
Good deal.
Last on my list there, I know that earlier this year I did present to council a fee schedule that, in my opinion, needs to be looked at. So I think at the start of the year, I'll revisit that and kind of bring that again to you folks. Just for example, our brick fee, we charge $25 a brick. We're getting charged $30 to get them engraved. So we're not losing much, but I mean, I think there's some
At least pay
fees
for
on there,
itself.
bricks, permits, things like that. I think we need to revisit and application fees for the planning commission, zoning board, things like that. We'll take a look at it again, but I just want to bring it to your attention.
Anything else?
That's all I have for now.
Questions for our administrator? Seeing none, thank you very much, Kevin. Chief, I'll turn it over to you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, residents. Shop of the Cop was this last Saturday, December 7th. Councilors Lindsay Weaver, my apologies, and Jen Priest assisted, and we had about 17 families. We had 17 families show up. We do 20 kids, but a couple of them didn't make it. Green and Transportation Department provided transport. We met here Saturday morning, some donuts and Santa. We went down there without a hitch. Everything went well. Officers did great. Community did good, and everything. So be some photos posted. I got them on a flash drive to give to the front office to get up on the internet there, and then we'll get them out to the counselor. I'll drop a disc off to her tomorrow so she can send out to the family. So thanks everybody that made that happen. Much appreciated by everybody. Mr. Storm, that was $2,010 is what we spent, and I think in the last meeting notes that I didn't get that appropriated prior. So if that needs to be done, I can ask council to appropriate $2,010 from the 2902 fund to pay that if needed.
We have that, and we have enough to cover that.
Yes, we do have enough. I just want to make sure. Okay. I
We
appreciate
have
that.
enough, we have enough appropriated to cover that. We have more than enough cash in the fund, but
Yeah, but I don't, do I need appropriated?
nope,
No, it
we
doesn't.
we appropriated that at the beginning of the year with the budget, so.
Here we go. Just checking the boxes. Thank you, sir.
Did you say there were 20 kids, Mike?
17 we only had 17 children. We take 20, but two families didn't show up. So one family had 2 children, the other one had 1. So we actually only had 17 of the kids show up. We couldn't sit here much longer. So
Okay.
we offered to let them meet us down there, but ultimately it was 17 children. So out of the 20 that we had planned for.
That's a great thing for the community. I appreciate us making sure that happened this year.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always well received, and that's probably the highlight of my year. Well, it is the highlight of my year. So I just really enjoy that. So I'm just glad that the transportation department was able to do that. I know there at COVID time we were, driving down and meeting everybody at Walmart. It's just so much better when it's done here, and we have Santa here, and we just all leave together. It's just, I don't know, I miss that, and we hadn't done that because of the prior years. But at any rate. I also would like to ask council, now that we've found the retention bonus that we received, the funds, and I believe it was 23, but we paid them out. But the $4,576 $1,045.68. If we could get that paid out to Officer Hupp before the next week or so, I can close that grant out. That will be 100% completed, and then I'll do my final QSR. And that
And
will be
Rob
that.
confirmed for us that we did have the money. I just wasn't able to tell you where to look for it. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So that money was received into the police levy fund in summer of last year. And we ran the reports to see what was paid out, and matches to the penny with what we're wanting to pay out to Officer Hupp. So we just know next time that that's not the appropriate place to put those
We'll
grants.
put it in a different spot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was in the police levy fund from last year.
So it was it was deposited into the police levy fund. And the only thing that should be deposited into the police levy fund are the levy funds.
Levy funds.
That are actually raised. So not a problem.
Okay.
We didn't have a special appropriation in this year to represent that. We didn't segregate that grant like we probably
And
should.
typically, we would do that.
Yeah. So,
We know better next time.
Okay.
but it balances, and we're good, and we have enough. We have enough salary appropriations in 2024 remaining to absorb paying that out without having to move anything in police.
So at this time, I'd entertain a motion and a second to approve $4,576.68 to Officer Hupp.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Least.
Yes.
Thanks, Mike, for staying on top of that. Thanks, Rob, for tracking it down.
Thank you. That was my first big grants, 26,000 and some change total. Thanks to the Department of Safety for helping me with that. The November stats you have in front of you, for the month of November 24, we had 60 dispatches, 23 citations, of 21 of the 23 did go to municipal court, 128 traffic stops, and then some assists to CCSO, not too much. Arrests were 17, crashes, one, it was just a property crash, so those are good, weren't on our roadway. And significant calls in that month, I don't really recall any, other than, no, not in the month of November. We did, well, no, everything's about normal. So I'm just rolling it through my head, apologize for rambling off. Saturday was an eventful day, but it was good. But something else we did Saturday, we had all our officers, we did have one officer off on vacation, but the agency was able to all be present, minus the ones off on vacation and the ones working late over the night. But we attended that Eagle Scout ceremony over at the church. That was
It's pretty awesome.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was pretty awesome. Good words. It was better than it was more than what I expected, but it was neat to see those youth in an organization like that, and just the words they put together and how much just love and compassion and just support that they had each other. I really like that. I know the brother probably doesn't want to hear it anymore, but he had a pretty good speech with his sister, and that was neat. So that is a monumental thing out there that they did. And though I know back in, was it 13, that wanted to get some covered parking out there and move all that. If nothing else, we got the flagpole moved and put out front. It makes this building and that look good. And I think she did a good job. So that was fun. The officers enjoyed it too. So, and then I had the cupcakes the next day because we'd have a long day. So
They brought them up here to us, right?
yeah, I wanted to thank them for dropping them off and bringing them for everybody to enjoy. Outside of that, we have a couple officers I have that are continuing for professional training. I have a couple of them that got to get still about 10 more hours left. I got an officer's got about an hour and a half left, and then the others are 100% complete. We're able to turn those hours in and be completely reimbursed by the state of Ohio for that. So once I get those numbers when I get all those turned in and figure out how many we got, they'll send us a nice check at the end of the year. But we have till December 31st to get that done. Our officers have been advised they need to get those to me quick, the ones that haven't, and then I'll get those submitted on the website. And it looks like we'll be good to go, and everybody will still be able to be a police officer after December 31st to 24. So that concludes my report after that.
Questions for our chief? Had a busy week. Good job. Appreciate it. Okay, any committee reports? Old business or new business? Comments from the public? Merry Christmas. And with that,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.
6:34.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.